Well, I think, if there was any doubt that there is a war on women and it's being waged by the Republican Party, that doubt has now been totally squashed. And as Joy mentioned, it's not just about birth control, it's not just about abortion. Actually, it's about Obamacare. I mean, we heard every major figure, at the exception of Chris Christie and Scott Walker, basically call out, start talking about repealing Obamacare all over again. It's like flashback to the past. Obamacare is the law that brought 27 million women a right and access to birth control. It is the law that made sure that being a woman is no longer a pre-existing condition. It's the law that made sure that women don't have to pay more for premiums because they're women. You can bet that women are going to go to the polls. Certain, but I don't think it's totally clear that mental illness was a huge issue. What we know so far is that misogyny was. We saw from the 140-page manifesto, clearly there was a profound hatred of women. And as you mentioned, people with mental illness are more likely to be victimized than to be perpetrators of violence. So it's important not to make this entire discussion about mental illness. Clearly, we have a public health problem in this country, and it's death by gun violence. Today we saw 5 old conservative men tell women that discrimination against women is not discrimination at all, it's just religious freedom. And now we have more old conservative men telling women, the 27 million women who've already benefited from this birth control mandate, that might just go away anytime soon. So I don't think that's going to be popular with female voters, and we've seen them swing elections in the past.
But some women's groups say products like these, though well-intentioned, don't work.
I think it reflects, the cultural reality where we actually put the blame on women. Often when they are victims of rape, we put the onus on them to prevent rape, when we very well know that that's not an effective way of actually reducing sexual assault. We need more women in positions of leadership and power in media. We certainly have seen, even looking at the data, we need more women in newsrooms. We need more women everywhere, in every position. It's still sort of largely a male-dominated field, a white male-dominated field. But we need more women at the top. And even if you look at the data, actually, it shows that it is often the smart decision is to stay.
Because leaving can be the most dangerous moment.
It is the most dangerous moment in a woman who is abused life. So if you look at even women of color who are disparately affected by this problem, only make up 8% of the population, and yet make up 1/5 of all homicide partner victims. So and actually half of those women were killed when they tried to leave their abuser. So often it's not just a complicated decision, it's a smart decision. Some of the photos that have leaked are actually of a 16-year-old whose ex-boyfriend leaked these photos.
So child pornography.
Exactly. And there are men on the internet who are getting off of this, and they're getting off of it because there's no consent. There's a profound misunderstanding of what consent really is. That's why we can't underestimate the power of celebrity feminism. I think it's very easy for us to sit here as adults and talk about how maybe it's simplistic, or how it could go further, or how it erases voices, and all of those criticisms are valid. But we have to remember who these messages are for. Who's the target audience for Taylor Swift or Emma Watson? It's teenagers, it's young people. And they are receiving a multitude of negative messages about what it means to be a woman and what it means to be a man. It's no coincidence that the first person whose life was ruined by the internet happened to be a woman, just like it's no coincidence that the biggest celebrity hack of nude photos of all time was like 97% photos of women.
Both happening to women, and specifically about slut shaming and sexuality.
Exactly. It had to do with women's sexuality and that shame involved, right? And so the internet is a space that is still very unsafe for women, just like sidewalks. And so I think it means a lot for Monica Lewinsky to come out and say, I don't want this self-imposed shame. I'm coming out, and I'm not going to apologize for doing the affair. I'm going to come out and have a wider message.
Is there a war on men?
You cannot be a victim of equality. You can be a victim of inequality. And I think men in this country are not oppressed. And when you liberate a woman, you actually liberate a man too. Everyone benefits from equality.